Every organization has data, but not every organization is ready for AI. Being AI ready isn't just about having more data, it's about making more possible, faster, smarter, and together. Microsoft Fabric brings it all under one roof. OneLake at the center, open by design, built for scale, from data to insight, from governance to growth. This is what modern data estate looks like. Resilient, scalable, governed by default, powered by a global community. The future isn't a single product, it's the platform that brings them all together, and the people who bring it to life. Welcome to Atlanta, to Microsoft Fabric and SQL Community Conference 2026.
Hey folks, good morning. I'm Arun Ulag, and I run the Azure Data team at Microsoft. I'm absolutely so excited to be here with all of you at our third annual Fabric conference and our first ever SQL Con. Yes. Now, we realize this is a significant investment of your time, and we're truly grateful that you chose to spend the time here with us. And as always, we have brought hundreds of the architects, designers, engineers, and product managers that build Fabric and SQL Server right here at FabCon so that you can have many conversations, you can understand what we're building, why we're building, and how it helps you. So before we get started, Satya wanted to share a few words. Let's roll the video.
Hello, everyone. It's great to be with all of you at the third annual FabCon and our first ever SQLCon. We have incredible momentum with Fabric. Today, we have more than 31,000 Fabric customers, and Fabric is the fastest growing analytics platform in the entire industry. And that momentum is thanks to this community, our customers, our partners, who are putting Fabric to work at enterprise scale every day. So let me first start by saying a very big thank you to all of you. As all of you know, innovation in AI is not slowing down. Agents are becoming part of everyday flow of work, from CLIs to team calls. And as this happens, context engineering matters more than ever. So agents have the right context to reason, act, and deliver the real business value. And that starts with a unified data estate, which brings together the operational, real-time analytical data end to end. And that's where Fabric comes in. Fabric is the complete data platform for the AI era, spanning SQL, NoSQL, as well as analytic workloads. And over the last year, we've gone even a lot further. Our new database hub brings together SQL and Cosmos databases across Fabric, Azure, and on-premise deployments, giving teams this single place for management, observability, and AI-powered app development. And Fabric IQ adds that ontology models that represents how businesses actually work, so agents can reason in real time and monitor signals at scale. Over the next few days, you will see how we're taking the next big step, from introducing expanded data sources for OneLake, mirroring, and shortcuts, to new planning workload for enterprise performance management, to updates for both data agents and operations agents. There is a lot to cover. We're all super excited about it. And to talk you through it, let me hand it over to Arun. Have a great FabCon and SQLCon.
This is my favorite time of the year, and I absolutely love coming to this conference. And I'm even more excited today that we have over 8,000 of our community members right here in Atlanta. And we're here together today because we're a community of people that deeply care and are very passionate about data. Now, this community has grown so quickly ever since we launched Microsoft Fabric. And if you can believe it, the Fabric conference and the SQL conference is now the second largest conference that Microsoft runs. The only thing bigger is Microsoft Ignite, which covers every Microsoft product. And this is really because of everyone here. You know, it's huge thanks to the community and many of you who have been with us on this journey for a very, very long time. Now, my own journey with this community began when I started working on Power BI about 10 years ago. How many of you folks here work on Power BI? Make some noise. And for us, Power BI is just not another product. It's a labor of love between us, the product that we build at Microsoft, and our community. It took a global village to build Power BI into what it is today. And what surprised us was not just how quickly Power BI grew, but how much and how strongly the community grew around it. We now have over 2 million members of the Power BI community around the world and over 300 user groups. Now, you didn't just adopt Power BI, you helped shape the product to what it is today. You created thousands of ideas and voted on them hundreds of thousands of times. And one of the things that I'm most proud of about the Power BI team is how deeply we care about our community and our customers and how we prioritize the ideas and features you ask us to work on and make sure that we continue shipping the innovation every single week. And I'm excited to share that we've shipped over 300,000 of the votes that you put in on ideas.fabric.microsoft.com. And this partnership between Microsoft and our product team and the community has really allowed us to grow together. And together, we've grown Power BI to over 425,000 organizations around the planet, pretty much in every country and every industry, including 93% of the Fortune 500, and we serve 35 million business users every single month. But you also told us more things. You told us the world was not just about business intelligence. The world was not just about Power BI. You don't just use Power BI, but you use it alongside a growing set of tools that you have to manually stitch together. You have to move tons of data between products, and the world of data is incredibly complex. Now, this is not my slide, but this is a slide put together by a venture capital firm in the Valley. But what I like to share about this is really represents the complexity that is facing you every single day. Because every tiny icon on the slide is a product or technology in the data and AI space. And the burden is on you to figure out which products to use, which ones work together, how are they priced and licensed, and how do you bring them together to create business value. So you asked us to bring everything together. You asked us to unify. You asked us to do for the entire data stack what we did for Power BI, which is make things simple, integrated, and low cost. And this is exactly why we launched Microsoft Fabric just over 2 years ago. With Microsoft Fabric, you get a complete data platform that's built from the ground up for the era of AI. With Fabric, you get everything you need to go from raw data to AI or BI value in the hands of your business users. Now, Fabric has a set of core workloads, and these are the boxes that you see on top. And these are all the capabilities you need in a modern end-to-end data platform. Operational databases that cover both SQL and NoSQL, data integration capabilities, industry-leading analytics with both Spark and data warehousing, the ability to work with real-time data at massive scale, and obviously Power BI. But Fabric is not just a bundle of products. We are fortunate because here at Microsoft, we have spent more than a decade and a half investing and building out our core data product portfolio. So we've had the opportunity to take all of our products and re-engineer them so that they have a unified architecture, a unified set of experiences, and a unified business model. And we were able to do this because these products were built in-house at Microsoft and were not simply a mishmash of acquisitions that we hurriedly cobbled together. So this is why I'm really, really excited about how deeply Fabric has resonated with our customers. Today, we have over 31,000 customers that use Fabric every single day. We have, including over 90% of the Fortune 500. And if you look at this URL, you'll find dozens and dozens and dozens of our customer stories about how customers are using Fabric in production to get real business value. Now, this momentum around Fabric has resulted in our analysts taking notice as well. If you look at what Gartner has to say, there are 4 Gartner Magic Quadrants that cover the data and AI space. They're data integration, cloud databases, artificial intelligence, and business intelligence. And what you'll notice about these Magic Quadrants is Microsoft is the only vendor with a leadership position across all 4 Gartner Magic Quadrants. And Gartner is not alone. If you look at Forrester, there are 3 Forrester waves that cover the data and AI space. Data Fabric, business intelligence, and streaming data. And again, you'll see Microsoft Fabric is the clear leader across all 3 Forrester waves. Now, all of this is not just because of the work that we do. It's also because of the work that is done by our community. It's what our community and our partners build on top of Microsoft Fabric. And to accelerate Fabric's adoption, we're investing deeply in building out our community. We're working with industry-leading ISVs to reshape what's possible for Microsoft Fabric customers. And every one of these partners have unique capabilities that plug directly into Fabric's unified data platform. I'll call out 3 examples. Augur provides a great solution to optimize your supply chain directly with AI. Prophecy provides a great master data management solution. And DBT Labs provides seamless data transformation that is directly built into Fabric. Right. We also know that when you're implementing Fabric, you want a partner that can do it quickly and efficiently. And that's why we're also deeply investing in the Fabric systems integration community. We have over 7,400 partners that have already implemented Fabric, and we work very closely with 337 Fabric featured partners, including all major global systems integrators. Fabric featured partners have a deep investment in Fabric, from establishing relationships directly with my product team to knowing our roadmap and staying on top of Fabric certifications. Now, having certified Fabric individuals in your Fabric projects is a great way to ensure your implementation of Fabric goes very, very successfully. And we have 5 partners that have over 1,000 certifications, and we are also excited to share that Accenture and Avanade are leading the charge with over 3,000 individuals certified. Now, many of our partners are here in our expo hall, so please check them out. We also wanted to take a moment to celebrate the journey that we've been together as a community. Let's roll the video.
Thank you.
Grazie mille.
Tule mukaan.
Maraming salamat.
Obrigado.
Danke sehr.
Gracias.
हमारे साथ शामिल हो.
I started making Moxed Fabric videos on YouTube. I wanted to make it a bit easier for people to get started with Fabric.
I also want to show my content and I want to get some feedback, and that's super scary.
And it has been such an amazing and transformative space for me to grow.
Pues comunidad no solamente se trata de tecnología, no se trata simplemente de llenar grandes salas. El verdadero impacto empieza incluso desde salas pequeñas de 10, 15 personas.
The power of the community is showing the members that they are not alone.
They find this welcoming worldwide Fabric community. They start joining discussions, asking questions, helping each other.
Community changed everything. Wasn't just about sharing materials. We support members from start to finish.
The journey alone isn't easy, and support makes it much similar. When I see someone succeed and accomplish something, I feel proud and really appreciate all the effort they put in to get there.
What makes this community special is how people support each other, and sometimes that's all someone needs.
It made me so much more confident in the things that I'm doing.
Thanks to amazing events, I was able to achieve 3 certifications. Because of that, I want to give back to the community and make people feel as welcome as I did when I first joined.
For me, community wasn't optional. It was the catalyst.
Join us.
Junte-se a nós.
Unisci-te a noi.
Kiitos.
Nahmit.
انضموا إلينا.
Bize katılın.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Fabric community, for giving me a place to grow and making me feel so welcome.
So if you're one of the 75,000 people that have gotten your Fabric certification, huge congratulations to you. And if you're not one of those people, then please take advantage of the free vouchers that we're making available for every conference attendee so you can get your Fabric certification. Thank you. So we've talked about the momentum that we've built as a community. Now let's switch gears and talk about where we're headed. We're at a major inflection point as AI becomes embedded into the everyday flow of work. Now, analysts predict that about 1 billion agents will enter the workforce over the next couple of years. So the question that I find myself addressing with customers is, how can you make sure that your agents are just as productive and trusted as your best employees? And when you think about it that way, we want to make sure that you empower your agents with the same knowledge and context that makes your employees very, very successful. Now, let's start by thinking about how do we onboard an employee. Now, most of us have hired people, and when we hire people, we don't just throw them in and expect them to be successful. We give them context. And we can broadly break down the context in 3 areas. The first is context on the team that they're in. Like, who do they work for? Who are their teammates? How does work actually work? What should be done? What shouldn't be done? Context on their institutional knowledge. How does this organization do business? What are your operating procedures? What's the right way to get things done? And then context on the state of the business itself. Like, what's happening with the customers? What's going well and what's not going well? So when we think about this, we believe that this is exactly what every agent needs to know as well, because we're moving into a world in which employees and agents are working side by side with each other. And that's exactly why we introduced a shared intelligence layer called Microsoft IQ. Because as AI becomes more capable, intelligence needs to be grounded in how work actually happens, the knowledge that organizations rely on, and the real-time state of the business itself. Microsoft IQ brings together three complementary capabilities: Work IQ, Foundry IQ, and Fabric IQ, creating that shared intelligence layer that empowers both humans and agents to act, reason, and drive the outcomes with confidence. Now, let's walk through each one of these three components, starting with Work IQ. Now, Work IQ is built upon all of the work that happens in Office 365, meaning you get Work IQ when you buy the Microsoft 365 Copilot. And the same context that is available to the Copilot is also available to your agents as APIs. So your agents have a deep understanding of all the collaboration that's happening through email, through Teams, through SharePoints, and all of your Microsoft 365 experiences. Next, Foundry IQ is about your curated institutional knowledge. It's the context on the policies, the knowledge bases, your documents, your contracts, your technical manuals, your operating procedures. It takes all of this information and creates knowledge bases that, again, are used by both humans and agents. And then Fabric IQ focuses on the state of your business, like how your business actually runs. This is your core business data from your ERP systems, from your CRM systems, from your supply chain data, your product telemetry, pretty much from any platform and any cloud. And Fabric IQ includes data at OneLake. It includes your Power BI semantic models and the new ontologies which we introduced last November, which help you not just analyze your data, but improve your business operations. And if you circle back to the slide that I started off with, the Microsoft Fabric workloads, that's why we've introduced Fabric IQ as a new workload that's part of Fabric. Now, as excited as I am about the Fabric vision and all of the workloads, for me, the most rewarding part of my work is seeing how real customers take these capabilities and drive actual business outcomes. So now let's hear from a real customer who's using Microsoft Fabric to modernize their data estate and move faster across their business. Welcome, Shekhar. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Arun. It's great to be here, and I'm super excited to talk about the Coca-Cola story.
So Coca-Cola has been on a multi-year data journey. How does Fabric fit into your data strategy?
Just to give some context to the audience here. So we manage like around 160 brands, and we operate in over 220 countries. And hundreds of bottlers and thousands of retailers. And we accumulate a lot of data. We generate a lot of data, we accumulate a lot of data. So we wanted to have a platform which can actually take on all these things and scale. And we looked at the Fabric and the beauty of the Fabric and how the data can be unified and the features of OneLake and data mirroring and shortcuts. It was like no-brainer for us. And we have been on a journey with Microsoft Fabric from there on.
That's awesome. No, thank you so much, Shekhar. We deeply, deeply appreciate the partnership. And one of my favorite examples is how you've modernized telemetry from your freestyle machines. And before Fabric, this data was massive, highly distributed, and largely batch-driven, which limited how quickly your teams could act. What changed? Like, what did Fabric do for you there?
Yeah, freestyle machines play a big part in our ecosystem of vending machines and automated, attended equipment. So we collect terabytes of data and telemetry from freestyle machines. For every pour we measure and control and how it needs to be tasted and fizzed and everything. So the way the Fabric helps us is we can real-time ingest the data and we can provide the insights to our field operations. If there is a challenge with an equipment, it's immediate, real-time. We don't have to wait for days or weeks to understand how the machines operate. And for the audience, we have created 2 new flavors especially for this audience called Fabric. And it's called Fabric and SQL. So please provide your feedback on which tastes better, the Fabric or SQL.
I think both taste better, right? Your team is also driving some exciting modernization on your business intelligence stack. What's happening there?
So, we are traditionally, like pretty much all the corporations, they depend on dashboards. So what we are moving away from static reports and dashboards, we want to real-time data to our marketers, to our finance analysts, to the field. So what we have done is we are bringing in more insights and actions. So we are trying to use LLMs and the prompting of what Microsoft provides on top of the Fabric. So that's how we are powering all our employees to get the real-time analytics immediately.
That makes a ton of sense, Shekhar. That's a tremendous amount of modernization that you've done in a very, very short time. What has the impact been on for your team?
So just like how unified data platform brings, so we are trying to unify all the teams together, because we are trying to bring in the engineers, the data engineers, and the machine learning experts, and our business analysts, and everyone together. So it's basically we are democratizing how the data is used across the company, and not just global, across the OUs and markets. That's one thing. And for us, Fabric and OneLake provides a lot of access. It reduces the friction of how you access the data, and that's a big win for us.
Yeah, that makes a ton of sense. Shekhar, thank you. Like Coca-Cola's journey shows what's possible when an enterprise builds a unified data foundation with Microsoft Fabric. For the architects and engineers in the room, what's one principle that's mattered most to you as you've modernized on Fabric?
Yeah, as most of you guys know, the business is very complex, right? So I want to build architectures which are purpose-driven and keep it super, super simple. And make sure you have the clean data so the AI and the agents can leverage that and provide the right insights for the business. And last but not least, I would encourage everyone to be refreshed, and we have a whole portfolio of products, okay?
Never miss a moment. That's great, Shekhar. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Aaron. It was a pleasure. Thank you. Thank you, guys.
It's nice to be at the home of Coca-Cola in Atlanta, so really, really appreciate his time. Now, Fabric is a massive investment for Microsoft. We have thousands and thousands and thousands of engineers working on it. And we're innovating at a very, very rapid clip with a new release of Fabric every single week and more capabilities that are shipping continuously. And just like in Power BI, a lot of our capabilities are based on your feedback, like the ideas that you give us. So we're excited to go on this journey with you. Now we're going into perhaps the most exciting part of this keynote, which is all the announcements that we're making today. So we will first hear from Shirish Tota, who will talk to you about the work we're doing in databases, and then Amir Nats will talk to you about the work we're doing in the Fabric platform. Shirish, come on over.
Thank you, Arun, and thank you, Shekhar, for joining us today. Good morning, everyone. My name is Shirish Tota. I'm Corporate Vice President for Azure Databases. I'm excited to be here today. I'm going to be talking about databases in Fabric and in SQL. Now, before I start, I want to begin by thanking everyone from the SQL community. You know, a lot of you have been building applications for the past 25 years on SQL. You know, looking around, many of you have started your careers in SQL Server in some form or shape. I have. I was an intern in SQL Server. I'm pretty sure many of you have begun your careers there as well. So it's awesome to see how this community has grown and flourished over the time. And that's the reason why it's so exciting for me to be standing here, to be reflecting on the legacy of SQL, and to talk about all the innovations that are coming up in this inaugural, the very first SQLCon. All right. Well, you know, SQL has been building enterprise relational databases for a while. It basically bought all the cool things to commodity hardware, and you've made it the digital backbone of the modern era. We have powered everything from the early on-premises applications to today's cloud-scale apps. Along the way, we have added a lot of innovations. We've added support for in-memory OLTP, the built-in analytics, hyperscale, and now AI. All the while making sure that the compatibility for SQL that you have come to bet on and rely on has completely been preserved all the time. And that's why, no wonder, we have many of the Fortune 500 customers, greater than 90% of them, depend on SQL. That pretty much covers most everyday aspects of our everyday life. That's a staggering number. And today, Microsoft SQL is a comprehensive platform. It basically has a consistent experience for the era of AI. It spawns everything from on-premises to cloud experiences and now SaaS experiences in Fabric. I'm going to go through one by one here. Let's begin with on-premises. Now, SQL Server 2025 has been made generally available just a few months ago, and the momentum has been incredible. This is a breakthrough release for us because we brought in AI directly inside the database. This is essentially the first time where we are enabling you to build intelligent applications with vector indexings. You could basically invoke RAG patterns side by side with your operational data. We've always been a performance leader, and we're not going to let go of those benchmarks now. SQL 2025 continues that legacy. Across the developer experiences and security, we've made sure that you can really bring your mission-critical applications on SQL all the time, just like any other releases. Now, I can't talk about SQL Server and not refer to SSMS. SSMS is one of the most beloved management tools that SQL customers across the board have been using. It is home for millions of DBAs and developers, and basically makes it easier for you to do your day-to-day jobs. And instead of asking you to come in, we are leaning in. We are bringing in a lot of new features. In fact, I'm excited to announce general availability of GitHub Copilot. This makes it easier for you to chat with your data, to ask some of the fascinating questions, things like debugging your query performance issues, and much more inside SSMS. And many of you in the community may have noticed that we have taken an aggressive stance in terms of enhancing and revising SQL in SSMS. SSMS 22 is now available and has tons of new features. I'm excited to announce some of those things. And these are some of the features that you, as a community, have been asking us. You have now the ability to group all the Object Explorer items for every database by schema. You could get a quick export options inside the results grid, so you could view them and save them in the common formats, including into Excel. And the last one is amazing. This one is something that you've been asking us for a while. We are now bringing the SSDT style projects inside SSMS directly, enabling your developers to go take advantage of all the cool things that they can use to build modern intelligent applications. Now, to show some of these awesome, cool features, I'm going to call her to stage Erin Stellato.
Thank you, Shirish. Hi, friends. Like so many of you, I'm a DBA. I have a customer, Zava Fashion, who has retail stores across the country, including one just down the road at Phipps Plaza. And they called because they're having some performance issues, one of my specialties. And so, of course, I'm going to go into Management Studio. This is the latest release coming out today. And I like to look at my objects grouped by schema. So I'm going to select that button, available for any SQL database. And I can expand in Object Explorer and look at the objects just in my inventory database. Now, of course, I have a whole set of scripts that I run when there's a performance issue. But this takes time, right? It's not time for those queries to execute. It's synthesizing all that information and figuring out what to do next, which is what GitHub Copilot is really good at. So we're going to go ahead and give the same information that I got from my customer about the performance issue, which is that refunds are failing and there's a slow report. And I'm going to throw that all at Copilot. It's got context based on that active editor. So it can query the database, it can query the server, and all the things that I would do, Copilot's going to do for me. So it's going to give me information about CPU, about memory, about the buffer pool, about storage. And it's going to come back with a nice summary that says, server resource looks good, but you've got a deadlock. And it gives me the store procedures involved, including one for processing refunds. And it says, here's what you need to do next. Excellent. Now, I understand what a deadlock is, but I don't know about you. I hate reading deadlock reports, and I never remember how to fix the problem without looking it up. Copilot has that information. It's going to go read those stored procedures, the definitions, and rewrite them for me. It gives me the output in chat. I'm going to open a new editor, take that T-SQL, drop it in there, and accept it with a tab. And then, because I don't run any code from the internet or Copilot without verifying, I'll do some testing, and Copilot tells me what changes it made and why. So once I understand what I need to do and why, and I've tested it, I'm going to hop back over to that production database and make that change. So I've fixed my deadlock. That's great, but I need to be a little more proactive, and Copilot will help me with this as well. I'm going to say, what do I need to do to make sure there's no other deadlocks or to be aware when they're occurring? It comes back with one of my favorites, an extended events session. I'll drop that into the editor, and I'll set that up to run as well. If you're not an XC fan, that's cool. Copilot can give you some other options. But in the end, what would have taken me 10, 15, 20 minutes, maybe longer, Copilot does in half the time. I have become way more efficient. My customers, my users, I'm supporting them so much better, and I'm solving problems much faster. As Shirish said, GitHub Copilot is now generally available, but that doesn't mean that we're done. We have a lot more to do. Stay tuned. Thanks. Back to you.
Thank you, Erin. That was awesome. And this is just a glimpse of what we have been working on in SSMS, and we continue to invest in on-premises. Now, it's very clear that SQL Server can power a lot of your intelligent applications. It continues to be a powerhouse for mission-critical apps and much more. Then the question becomes, how do you take all these cool capabilities that SQL Engine provides and apply it into the cloud? You do want to go to the cloud for lots of reasons. I want to enumerate a few of those things. To begin with, you can build cloud-native applications. This essentially means that you can have awesome high availability characteristics, seamless elasticity, great number of resiliency knobs. The second thing that I would call about is the cost aspect of it. Of course, these days you have to be very conscious in terms of not burning through your bank. And cloud offers a whole lot of capabilities across serverless, free tiers, a lot of cloud-native optimizations. And finally, I want to call your attention to the AI capabilities in the cloud. When your application runs in the cloud, you basically can get access to all the latest models, great latency benefits. In fact, your data can be secure, so you don't have to exfiltrate in and outside of the cloud, and much more in terms of inlining intelligence along with your operational data in the cloud. So that's all cool. Azure SQL, of course, is the answer for you to get there. Then the question really is, how do you get there? Well, the answer that we offer you is Arc. Now, Arc is being basically invented to give you hybrid capabilities, to basically bring all the goodness of the cloud to your data, no matter where your data is. It could be on premises, it could be on the other clouds, it could be in your private data centers, and wherever. But now we're innovating in Arc so that you can move SQL where it runs the best, in Azure, of course. When you enable Arc on your SQL Server, you get a lot of cool capabilities. To begin with, you have this awesome assessment capabilities. So it's always running and telling you what is the best target for your SQL Server to get to into the cloud. It could be MI, it could be VM, it could be Azure SQL Hyperscale. And once you're ready, when you're enabled and when you're ready to go, it basically bursts your replica into the cloud. And whenever you're comfortable, you can cut it off and call it a day. And that's a very different kinds of a migration experience than all of the tooling that you may have been familiar with. And that's sort of really our clearest, easiest answer for you to get into the cloud and take advantage of the cloud. And once you're in the cloud, the questions change again. You start asking, how do I really unlock more value? How do you scale smarter? How do you build faster? And SQL Hyperscale is the best answer that we have here. It is really built for seamless elasticity, awesome high availability, and ready for mission-critical applications. And why? Well, the reason is because of its architecture. It's always the architecture. It enables your storage and compute to be disaggregated, and thereby you could basically go from gigabytes to petabytes seamlessly. You can add as many read replicas as you want, up to 30, and thereby separating your read workloads from write workloads. This is all possible because of the shared storage that powers all the replicas seamlessly. There are a lot of new cool capabilities across Azure SQL. A few of them I'm excited to announce today. We are bringing in SQL MCP server capabilities as part of the Data API Builder, thereby giving you secure access to your SQL for all your agents, copilots, and all the modern applications. We're adding support for 160 and 192 vCore supports for SQL Hyperscale, so your workloads, whichever needs higher throughput, more bandwidth room, all of that can be served now. And finally, vector indexing. We're getting a lot of boosting capabilities in vector indexing, speed, performance, more reliability. In fact, we can do a search of up to 1 billion records in less than 100 milliseconds. That's the power of SQL Engine. Right? Those are all possible today because of the innovations that we're bringing into SQL Hyperscale. And no surprise, we have customers across banking, finance, manufacturing. They all take a bet on SQL Hyperscale for modernizing their data platform. And the themes are consistent. They love SQL Hyperscale because of its seamless elasticity, because of its high availability, and price. Now, speaking of price, I don't know if you've heard about it. Many of you may have. SQL Hyperscale is a SKU that offers no SQL IP pricing. It's basically, if you're looking for something, if you're trying to modernize and you're worried about SQL IP pricing, Hyperscale is the SKU that you have to go to. It basically has zero SQL IP pricing and basically does a price match with any commercial OSS offering. So you don't have any excuse for you not to go and try your cloud-native applications on SQL Hyperscale anymore. And I'm excited about the technology, but we also realize that modernizing you means going all the way. And this is the reason why I'm excited to announce database savings plans. This database savings plan gets you up to 35% additional savings. When you have a committed workload that you know that you're going to burn through for a specific set of time, you could take advantage of savings plan and get a significant amount of savings. And these basically help you really get into the cloud and take advantage of all our cloud-native experiences. That's all about PaaS, where you don't have to worry about the infrastructure. Now, I want to move to the next chapter, where I want to talk about how the modern agentic experiences have been shaping how we think about the data. Now, modern developers are basically really busy trying to add value on the top of the stack, and they don't want to go look under the hood. They don't want to know all the details. They want the systems to take care of them. They want the time to value to be significantly lower. That's the reason why we bought SQL databases and give them SaaS experiences inside Microsoft Fabric. Now, SQL databases in Fabric, this has been generally available for a few months now. This is built on the same SQL engine. It doesn't take any of your power away from SQL, but it basically lets you bring transactions and analyticals together, so thereby you can build some really modern, powerful applications. It is a managed service. It spins up in a few seconds, so you don't have to worry about the infrastructure. It has awesome security built in, great autonomous capabilities, so you don't have any maintenance overheads. It has AI built in, takes advantage of all the cool AI things in Fabric. And most importantly, as soon as the data hits the operational data, it basically gets replicated near real time without any operational overhead, effectively zero ETL, into OneLake, which we call as mirroring, and thereby enabling your developers to go build analytical solutions on top of the operational data. The time to gather insights as soon as it's born is significantly compressed with this solution now. And we are adding a ton of capabilities in this thing. We are basically making sure that you have the same kind of SQL parity, the mission-critical experiences, database record limits, SQL auditing, customer-managed keys at workspace level. All of those things are now available to you. And if you're looking to consolidate all your SQL estate in one place inside Fabric, we're letting you do that with a database migration assistant. So that's now available. And so I really hope that you all take advantage of this. We do have many customers taking advantage of it. The momentum has been amazing. Origins is one of those customers who have basically taken all the production workload data, ingested into OneLake with mirroring, and thereby taking the load off the production database. This is one of the cool patterns where they immediately get all the advantages of all the compute engines in Fabric once the data hits OneLake. Now, I've been talking about on-premises, PaaS, and SaaS. I want to move to applications. As you look forward, agents are going to be only as powerful when they have continuous real-time access to the right data. And let's see how Fabric helps us do that. When you look at applications, many of them do need real-time. A lot of them do need analytical data. A ton of them will need OLTP operational databases. But the fact is that none of these applications are going to succeed just because they have these siloed access to these various workloads. A lot of these things do need interoperability with various APIs, applications, and services. And Fabric makes it easier to expose your data through APIs and services across all these applications, thereby enabling your developers to go build these modern applications. I want to show an example. Let's talk about some of these applications that depend upon both relational databases as well as non-relational databases. Relational databases are great when you have, when you need transaction capabilities, ACID, functionally rich query support, and much more. You're thinking about orders, payments, etc. You go for SQL database. Non-relational databases, on the other hand, they're great for seamless elasticity, high availability, global replication, low latency guarantees, and much more. Cosmos DB is a fantastic database that we have, and we offer it for NoSQL databases. And that's great for customer engaging, user-facing kind of scenarios like perhaps recommendations catalog views and such kind of things. So many applications do depend upon both relational and non-relational databases, SQL and Cosmos DB. I want to show a demo that basically shows you the power of Fabric as to how it combines both these scenarios together. To do that, I'm going to call onto stage Charles Webb.
All right. This is Zava Fashion. And you already heard about them a little bit, but we're bringing back them again, because now we're going to talk about their e-commerce presence. This is Zava Online. And like many of you, they're interested in increasing their sales and also adding a little bit of personalization. And they're in luck, because they're using SQL DB and Fabric for all of their orders, and they're also using Cosmos DB for all of the customer activity. Let's take a look. Here we are, again, in Zava Fashion. But this is their very loyal customer, Maria. Now, Maria has bought several things from them, but she continues to shop, and she hasn't quite closed the door. You can see here she's been interested in several different polos, but she hasn't quite done it yet. Now, behind the scenes in Fabric, Cosmos DB has been tracking all of that activity. And we have a classic abandoned shopping cart situation here. So what can we do? Well, the power of OneLake means that all of those Fabric databases store their data in the lake, which means we get all the analytics opportunities. What we're going to do here is write a simple SQL query. And we're going to join all of the customer information along with all the orders, and we're going to have a single consolidated customer record. Now, this is the foundation for intelligence. And then in one click, I'm going to go from that intelligence to using Copilot, and I'm going to ask it to write a machine learning model for me. So what you're seeing now is all of that magic, and what it's showing you is preference vectors. Now, the next step is I need to take these preference vectors, and I need to write these back to Cosmos DB, and ultimately display them on my front-end application. So here you have it. This is now the For You page, the same polos you saw earlier, plus new things we think Maria would be interested in. But it gets better. When Maria trusts us with her special night, we're there for her too, with Cosmos DB semantic search. And this is really the power of a unified data platform, going from applications to intelligence to personalization, all through the power of Microsoft Fabric. Back to you, Suresh.
Thank you, Charles. So that was very cool. As I said, Fabric can help you bring these kinds of disparate applications into one place, make it very easy for you to build modern, intelligent applications. Now, I want to take a step back and reflect on the fact that this basically covers an application, a set of databases perhaps, but most of you are probably dealing with a set of problems that go beyond just one application. You probably have heterogeneous environments. You probably are dealing with on-premises applications, cloud, Fabric. You're probably dealing with hundreds of applications, tens of databases, perhaps hundreds, perhaps thousands. You have all this complexity that basically looks very different than just one database and one environment. And there are lots of problems when you have these kinds of situations. Let's enumerate a few of those things. Firstly, health of databases. Signals are generally scattered. It's not easy for issues to surface in time, and engineers are generally scrambling to mitigate them instead of preventing them in the first place. Next step is monitoring. What works for monitoring a single database is generally not going to work for hundreds of databases, tens even. This is because the telemetry gets noisy, alerts get inconsistent, and your teams are struggling to have a comprehensive view of all the environments all the way from on-premises to cloud to Fabric. And then there is the case of security. This is important because even a single database that is not correctly secure can become the attack vector. Your policies can drift, patching can get inconsistent, and compliance becomes a huge manual chore. So these are the challenges that are very common across most of the environments. So how do we solve it? I'm really thrilled to be announcing Database Hub in Microsoft Fabric. So what is Database Hub? This basically gives you a consistent view of all your databases in one place. Whether the database is on premises, whether it's in the cloud in PaaS, or even if it is in SaaS in Fabric. You get a unified visibility, governance, and centralized security, observability, and much more for all your databases. Now, when you have these kinds of challenges, the modern solution is to really come to agentic solutions. Agents are awesome. They basically take a model, take set of instructions. And when you give the right tools, they can autonomously go and solve some of the thorniest challenges. That's exactly what we are doing here. I'm also really proud, thrilled to announce database agents as part of the database hub. And these database agents are basically designed to autonomously and rigorously always monitor your entire fleet of databases across all the different environments, making sure that your performance is up to what you really need it to be. Your compliance, governance, security, etc. is really taken care of all the time. And we're being very careful. We don't want to step on your shoes. We want to make sure that we respect the guardrails that you need. We want to make sure that the autonomy balance is correctly managed. We want to ensure that you have all the guardrails that you need, the steering wheel, when you need to take, we will make sure that you have that while adding zero operational tax. That's the promise of database agents. That's the promise of Database Hub. Now, of course, it won't be fair for me to end this conversation here. We have to see a demo. To do that, I'm going to call on the stage Charles Webb once again to show us the magic of Database Hub.
What you're looking at is the brand new Databases Hub in Fabric. A single pane of glass for all your databases. No migrations needed. We're bringing these agents, all this intelligence, observability, governance, and more directly to you. From a full estate overview for all your databases, no matter where they live, to a health overview, alerts, insights, configurable charts and dashboards, even the ability to deploy your databases wherever they live. But let's start at the top. I have databases across the entire estate. On-premises, IaaS, PaaS, and now I have a single pane of glass, the first time ever where I can see them, no matter if they're coming from Microsoft or even other vendors. But I also see 7 things I need my attention right now. And the best part about this is the first time I know exactly where I need to act, and I have everything centralized for me. But it gets better. I can see my security, my whole posture. I can see my compliance, and I can even see my resource utilization. And this is going to unlock countless optimization opportunities. Now, what I love about this is it's not just about the insights. It's about the action. And these alerts are centralized, again, across my entire estate. So for this particular one, this can run autonomously or configured by me. But it's telling me something I already knew, but it's finally nice to have this insight in a single pane of glass. It's telling me about some memory pressure from a load test. And while that's really great, I want to take a step back, because this is SQLCon. Many of you are DBAs, and you dread the phone call you get at 2 a.m. saying, hey, your mission critical application is down, and you roll out of bed, you're trying to fix it, but you're already late. This is why I'm super excited to bring to you these database agents to help you find these issues before they become a problem. These are proactive agents that are working across your entire estate, helping you scale. And in this case, what you see is a block query, but better yet, this particular block query has already brought a human into the loop, Gloria the DBA. Now, what I love about this experience is it meets you where you are. So for Gloria, we've already let her know, hey, this issue has been remediated, and we suggest you take additional action. Now, right here from Teams, it's a single click to go back to the Databases Hub. And what I love about this agent is it's always going to keep me in the loop and informed. I can see its whole chain of thought, the full reasoning, and it gets even better. I can see the summary, the issues, even the potential resolution. But this is where my instincts as a DBA kick in. And I know that a block query usually has a root cause a little bit deeper than meets the eye. And this is where, again, my friend Copilot can help me out. What I can do is say, listen, my friend, tell me the root cause, tell me the RCA. And what I love about this is it's going to run the same queries I might have ran. It's encoded with my best practices and Microsoft's best practices, but it gets even better. I know that this next step of informing and making sure my business can run at scale needs time. And this is where the developer agent can be handed off seamlessly from the hub to inform my business. Now that as a DBA, I can shift to being a trusted advisor. And I know my next task is to deploy a database downstream for the developers. And I'm going to choose the best database in the world, SQL, to do that. And from there, I can deploy it with all of my best practices encoded. So this is where the value of the hub really compounds. Because now as a developer, I'm learning how to become a 10x engineer, but it gets better. Right there, I can see how easy it is to integrate my application. And as I'm continuing to build my application, the hub leans in. Agents can help me build my application and optimize it before it's deployed. Now, if you take a step back, I'm now in the hub and I'm looking at the estate view. And this is where all the data, all the logs, all that activity is now stored in OneLake. unlocking all the clicky, draggy, droppy, all the Fabric analytics engines. That's right. And best yet, even MCP servers for your agents. And if you scroll up to the top and you look at the hub at scale, this is really about empowering all of you and shifting your operations to be really, really intelligent and autonomous. And this is the difference between another vendor and a truly intelligent data platform. Back to you, Suresh.
All right, thank you, Charles. So, it's really a new and exciting way to manage the entire database fleets and to welcome the era of agents inside operational databases. We are very excited about it. We are going to bring it to you, hoping to get a lot of feedback from you guys. Now, before I wrap up, I do have one more thing. This is an exciting thing. You all may have heard about the SQL AI developer certification. That's now live. So the first 300 candidates whoever can apply, you can go do that now. You get 80% off for the first 300 candidates. So yeah, let's make sure that you have the AKA link and go sign up. Excited about this thing. So there's a lot of content here. This is the first SQL Con after all. We have a lot of database content here. We do have a SQL core node. We also have a Cosmos DB core nodes, a lot of sessions here. So if you're interested, please do go check them out. So on behalf of my entire team here, I want to thank you all. And I really hope you have a wonderful rest of the time here at SQL Con and FabCon. Now with that, it's my singular honor to welcome onto stage the Amir Ness.
Hello, everybody. It's just incredible to see the database hub is coming to Fabric, and it really shows how Fabric is transitioning to a complete data platform that is really oriented not just to the local developers that we started with, in the Power BI days, but really the professional community that is dealing with data. And really, a lot of the emphasis we're making is making Fabric into a professional developer platform. And what it means is that we have to think about your experiences, how we really make them something that is familiar to somebody who's working in various integrated development environments. And 6 months ago, we introduced for the first time the new experience, the tabbed experience with the item list as a panel on the side. You loved it. We are incredibly excited to announce that it's now generally available, but we're not done yet. We're not done yet, because we know that you guys want CI/CD improvements. That's something you'll be hearing from you again and again and again. And we have a whole host that we're introducing today as a public preview. And these CI/CD improvements are all about making sure that you really can do the best work in the most productive way. So what do we have there? We have, first of all, the ability to branch selective items. So you don't have to create these giant branches with hundreds of items, waiting them minutes to provision. It just comes instantly. The other thing that we are dealing with is making sure that you don't get this branch pollution and the big list of workspaces. The branches are not going to show in the main list. It's going to show as a child item of the original branch, which I think you're going to love it, because it just shows the hierarchy of the branches directly in the workspace list. And then, you're professional developers. You want to be able to show the differences between various versions. So we're introducing the diff improvement directly in the workspace. You can actually see side-by-side versions and explore them. Yes. So to show this and more, even improvements in the variable libraries, I'm going to invite my friend Patrick to the stage. Hey, Patrick.
What is up? I'm here.
Hey, man.
Hey, man.
So you're going to show us what it means to do an end-to-end CI/CD, right?
Yeah, because I'm an expert in CI/CD. So enough of all this talking. You know what I like to do? Let's head over to my laptop. All right, Amir.
Yeah.
Welcome to the Dev Workspace, the communal fridge of data engineering.
Yes.
Everything's created here, and sometimes, occasionally, someone will delete your lakehouse like leftover sushi, right? We don't like leftover sushi. But you can see here, I need to get to work, Amir. I need to add some variables. I want to make my lakehouse more dynamic. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new branch, but I'm going to do something that Adam and Martha, they don't do. I'm going to create an isolated workspace. I'm not going to wreak havoc on our development.
That's good. That's really appreciate it. Now, creating a branch and actually provisioning everything in the branch can take minutes, because you can have hundreds of items in there, right?
I don't need to do that anymore, Amir. I stepped up my game. I got selective branching. So I'm only going to choose what I need. I'm just going to choose my lakehouse and my variable library, less moving, less copying, more doing stuff. I got a lot of stuff to do. I'm a busy person, right? And so in just a few clicks, I'm going to automatically create a branch and a workspace, and I give them the same name because I'm really strict about my naming conventions, okay? But if you look at the top, I've gotten mature over the years, and so I need to know where I come from, and this little breadcrumb will tell me exactly.
But not only the top, I love the hierarchical
Beautiful.
structure.
parent, children, kind of like Thanksgiving, the whole lineage.
That's
Everybody's
awesome,
sitting
right?
around the table, right? And so now it's time for me to get to work. I need to add these variables. So I'm going to open up my variable library. I'm going to add my variable. And you can see I have a new item type here. Not only my item, but also my connection, our property. So this is brand new.
So now you can prioritize the links to different items across workspaces.
That's right. And so I'm going to set my dev to my dev lakehouse. And then I'm going to set test and production to my production lakehouse, because what works in development should eventually work in production. Emphasis on eventually.
Eventually.
Right? And so once I get all that set up, then I'm going to go over into my lakehouse. Now I'm going to make all this dynamic. I'm going to use those variables that I created. So I'm going to jump into my lakehouse, and you can see right here, instead of having a static shortcut, I'm going to have a dynamic shortcut, because I'm going to use my variables that I just created.
We can see it actually
We
here
can see it all right there, right? And when I hover, you get all the details, and I set all this up. But the remarkable part about all this, Amir, is that you all may not know, but I'm a very responsible engineer. I'm a very, very responsible. And before I commit this back to the main branch, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a line-by-line code review, something people don't do. But because I'm so responsible, I check every line of code before I commit it back.
So we're never leaving the workspace. You can see the diff here, see the changes before you check them in.
You can see it. All my variables are being used because I'm responsible. I'm responsible. Responsibility first, right? And so now I'm going to see my comment. I put a comment so they'll know.
You actually put comments.
I do. I put comments, right? Yeah. I'm going to go over to DevOps. I'm going to do a pull request, get this merged back. Now, because my developers don't trust me, they don't trust me. So once I go back to my main branch, they can take a look
and do a diff.
They can do a diff. They can look at my code because they don't trust me. I don't know why. I could be a little chaotic every now and then, but not when it comes to my code. Now it's ready to go. But this is not the best part, right? I've just been building you up for something here, Amir. And so once all this is done, I'm going to get this committed back. Now, normally we have a production process. We go through pipelines and scripts and deployment gates, a process that my team tolerates, right?
But we need to make it easier.
Now, with the Fabric CLI, I'm going to go from dev to test to production with one single line of code.
That's amazing.
One single line of code. And what you saw was a full development lifecycle in less than about 3 minutes. It's impressive.
That's awesome. Thank you, Patrick.
Yeah,
And
you're
don't go too far. I'll lead you in a moment. So we have lots and lots of improvement. And you're going to have Kim and her friends are going to give you a beautiful core note about everything we have around the development environment, around CI/CD. And we also have another thing there. You know, we have the OneLake catalog. And OneLake catalog is one of the most underappreciated hidden gems in Fabric because it's actually the most used data catalog in the world. It has 240,000 organizations that are using the OneLake catalog. It holds 350 million data items in it. It's integrated everywhere. You can find integration of data catalog in the OneLake catalog inside Excel, inside PowerPoint, inside Teams, inside 100 different integration points. And we typically use it to explore the data, to find data. It's typically for the business users to find their favorite data sets and semantic models and everything. But it's kind of changing now because we're taking the data, the OneLake catalog, and we are making it more than just an exploration. We're making it the place we can govern everything that you're doing inside Fabric. So we are incredibly excited to announce the general availability of the Govern tab inside the data catalog. And this is where you can handle all the tagging and all the sensitivity labels and have a bunch of Copilot-assisted governance activities. So it's, this is generally available. And another thing we're doing is we're starting to roll out at last the OneLake security. We've all been waiting for the OneLake security. It is now going to be generally available. It allows you to put all the security definitions inside OneLake. They're going to be shared across all the engines, has table-level security, column-level security, row-level security, and everything is being done from within the OneLake catalog. So I'm going to have Patrick come back on stage. Hey, Patrick, faster, come on. We don't have a lot of time here.
I'm back.
And so OneLake catalog, how we do governance, how we do security.
So Amir, I'm a chief governance officer. I'm a chief data officer. I'm a chief of chiefs, Amir.
Chief.
I am so many chiefs. And so I usually start my day, with a warm cup of coffee and right here in the OneLake catalog. Particularly, I start in the Govern tab. And when I go to the Govern tab, all the insights are exposed. But sometimes I feel like it's, my wife yelling at me or my mom yelling at me because it's telling me, Patrick, you're not sensitive enough. There's
Yeah,
not
you're
a
not
lot of
a sensitive
sensitivity
man.
labels. I've been working on my sensitivity. But I gotta need to find out where this problem is. And I could search across this entire catalog, but I'm just gonna use Copilot because remember, I'm not lazy, just really efficient. And it tells me it's sales. Of course it's sales. Amir.
Always sales.
Always sales. And so I'm gonna go directly to the sensitivity label for the domain and set my default sensitivity label to confidential for them. And just like that, before I had my first cup of coffee, sales secured, right?
Yep.
And so now I'm gonna go back. I'm switching hats. I'm a data engineer now. All right, I do all these jobs. And you can see in the OneLake, I have everything. You can see everything I need. And then I have my semantic models. We love semantic models.
It's
You can see
empty.
everything. Right, I have my sensitivity labels, my endorsements, and I need a description. And Copilot creates that description for me.
So
right?
easy.
So easy. But now they're closing out sales. And I got to go check on these salespeople. I need to go look at their lake house and make sure it's really, really secure. And so you can see right here, I can see everything in the OneLake catalog down to the column level.
Sub-item information metadata in the catalog.
Yeah, but my social security number is transparent, like those bags they gave us that we had to bring in here. And so, but then I need to secure it. But I can see some people. There's a problem. These people are here, and they shouldn't have access to this, but I'm going to solve this problem. I'm going to solve this problem. I'm going to go to the Secure tab, and I'm going to create a role right in the OneLake catalog.
So you don't have to go to the lakehouse in the workspace. You can do it all from the OneLake catalog.
Yeah, I don't need 18 tools to do this anymore. I can do everything in the OneLake catalog. I remove social security number. I add those people to that role because I need to protect that social security number. And now everything is secure. I have one role, one definition, one catalog.
That's awesome. So security, governance, thank you, Patrick.
All right.
Now, a lot of you are managing capacities. And I know that the most dreadful event could happen to you is to get the call saying the capacity is throttled, nothing is working. So we want to help you. And we have a whole host of features that really helps you and us to make sure the capacity is always working, always humming without any disruption, without any fear. And it starts with the new public preview of the capacity events in the real-time hub. You know, we have real-time intelligence in Fabric, and the capacity emits events, so it allows you to really build a complete system where you can listen to the events, see what is the state of the capacity, and then if things start to go off track, you can take action. You can downgrade the load in some of the workspaces, maybe upgrade the capacity for the peak hour. So you have now full transparency in real time to everything that is happening in the capacity. That is in public preview. In addition, we are also continuing the journey with the surge protection. And surge protection is really making sure that when the capacity starts running out, you can really prioritize the most important things over the things that are less important. So you can now, when public preview, you can now set workspace level definitions. You can say this workspace, well, it's not really a very important workspace. Make sure it doesn't consume too much. You can give a quota to the workspace. And on the other hand, you can have some workspace say, this is mission critical, can never go down. So if push come to shove and you really run out of capacity, this one stays alive and the other downgrade. Only essential systems are on. But the ultimate protection you want to have, just nothing will come through that, is the capacity overage protection. And this is really make sure that no matter what happens, even if you run out of capacity, you will still running, because all you have to do is pay for the extra you consume above the capacity level. So you pay a bit more and the capacity never goes down. So this makes sure that never, ever, ever you'll see your capacity throttled again. Okay? What do you think about that? We have more around the admin controls and capacity management and everything that you need in order to have a scalable Fabric architecture. Again, go to the core note by Kim and she will tell you everything there is to know about it. Okay, we talked about the general platform, the developer experience, the capacity management, the CI/CD, the security, the governance, everything that you need. Now let's shift gears. Arun talked about Fabric IQ. And it kind of sounds cool, but it's kind of still a bit abstract. So we are going to show you what it means to build Fabric IQ. And we have here the Fabric IQ framework and the step-by-step process, layer by layer, of how to build your IQ tier inside Fabric. And we'll start with the first level of the journey. And this is the unification of the data estate. This is the first phase. You have to bring all the data together to make sure that it's not fragmented, that there's a single pane of glass, that everybody can see all the data. And this is, of course, where OneLake is the centerpiece. And OneLake, you're here, you know what is OneLake. One drive for data, one place you can find all the data for the organization, where all the data is stored in open format, where all the lineage is computed for you. Everything is governed by the OneLake catalog, sensitivity labels, compliance, governance, everything is handled here. And people absolutely, absolutely love that. We just look at the growth of OneLake, it's just incredible. The volume of data managed by OneLake grew 4 times more than it was last year, which also was a phenomenal year of growth. It's just the momentum is not stopping. Just look at the curvature of the chart here. It's a hockey stick. It's just incredible. And a lot of the data is being brought by the shortcuts. And if you look at the number of shortcuts just created so far, it's over 10 million shortcuts. And it's not just the shortcuts, it's the mirroring as well. This is really what people love so much about OneLake. It's the ability to bring data from everywhere into a single pane of glass. It doesn't really matter if your data is on other cloud, AWS, GCP, somewhere else. Could be in different storage systems like NetApps. Could be on premises. Could be in databases. Could be in applications. Doesn't really matter where the data is. OneLake is equipped with mirroring, with shortcuts to bring all your data together, to have one place where you can find it, to manage it, to govern it. And you have it there. And all the data, and the only criticism we hear is we want more sources. We want to bring it from more places. So I'm really excited to announce that the 2 most requested sources are now generally available. It's SAP sources, mirroring from SAP, mirroring for Oracle, now generally available. And we also have a really exciting public preview announcement. Is now we do mirroring for SharePoint lists. It's going to be super cool. You're going to see it in a moment, but it's going to allow you to make sure that all the data that you have in SharePoint, whether documents with shortcuts or lists through the mirroring, are going to just show up as part of OneLake. So really bringing OneDrive and OneLake together. And one of the customers that we are having that is really enjoying this feature is CSX, and they're using actually both SAP and Oracle to replicate hundreds of millions of rows, terabytes of data directly into OneLake. Incredibly ecstatic about that. Now, as we went through the shortcut journey, we introduced another capability, which was called the shortcut with transforms. And the shortcut with transforms allow you to actually point to data using shortcuts, but also transform the data on the way in. So it doesn't have the destination can look different than the landing spot inside your lakehouse and in OneLake. So that is super exciting. We've seen amazing growth. You guys are just using it all over, and we're just super excited to announce more and more and more transforms. So you have now the data format transforms, and so you can do CSV to Delta tables, or maybe Excel to Delta tables, and no code, no scheduling, no pipelines, no nothing. It's just part of the shortcut definition. And then we have the AI transforms, which allows you to go and do translations on the fly, or find the sentiment of the text on the fly. So it works with unstructured data to structured data. Really, really exciting. And to show how everything comes together, I'm going to ask Shireen to join me on the stage. Hey, Shireen.
Good morning. Good morning, everyone.
So we are going to show how we can actually use the shortcuts and the mirroring.
Yes.
And it's going to be from a special source.
Exactly. So I think the best way to show this is through a demo. So let's take a look. So right over here, you guys, as you can see, this is a basic task flow. I'm storing data, I'm ingesting it, analyzing, visualizing it. But let's take a look and see why this is such a basic architecture. Clicking into my lakehouse, I'll see a list on the left-hand side. These are all shortcuts specific to databases. But Amir, we all know not all critical data lies in a database. Some of it lies in a dun-dun-dun-dun, SharePoint list.
Yes.
This is all for you SharePoint users out there. This is for you. So I work for Zava, and Zava is currently opening up 15 new stores this semester. Some right here in Atlanta, some across the country, like Chicago, Boston, Seattle. And every data ops needs to track their budgeting, their forecasting, their staffing, and SharePoint List is the right way to do it because it's accessible and collaborative to every single person. But the real question is, how do I bring this data out, specifically for analyzing purposes? I can use exporting CSV files. Maybe if I'm feeling a little feisty, I can use Power Automate. But as Amir mentioned earlier, today, SharePoint List available in public preview for mirroring. And it works the same way as
Yeah,
other
it's
mirroring
exactly
sources.
the same way you do it, mirroring from any other source. Now you can do mirroring from SharePoint.
Exactly. We'll use the same item. We'll put in the next existing connection, put in the SharePoint URL. I can select the tables that I want, maybe even document libraries. I can mirror future tables as well, but in this case I won't. Then I'll give my destination a name. And that's basically it. That item is created, I'm bringing my mirror data over, and in a few short moments, you're gonna see that 195 rows from my table mirrored over. But let's go to my lakehouse. Instead of using pipelines and notebooks, I'm gonna use a low-code approach and use shortcuts to go to my mirrored SharePoint list item that I just brought over. Same thing, really easy, no data flows, no bloat notebooks, and that data just lands directly into Fabric. In a few short moments, you're gonna see that same table from SharePoint directly in my lakehouse.
But not all the data is managed in SharePoint lists.
Yeah.
No, we have other places where people like to manage their data.
Yeah, you read my mind, Amir. So all data lies there, so we are gonna be talking about Excel. So Excel workbook, same thing you have seen before. I'm tracking my marketing budget, my spending, my forecasting numbers, and that same question lies again. How do I bring that data into Fabric? Today, we're announcing OneLake shortcut support for Excel. The difference between this shortcut is that Fabric automatically detects that this is an Excel workbook. From here, I have options. I can give it a sheet number, I can accept some of the defaults, and click next. And that's it, that's where the magic happens. Every single sheet in my Excel turns into a table in my lakehouse.
That's awesome.
Isn't that great?
Now,
Yeah.
once it's in OneLake, we can use it as like any other table, both the list in SharePoint and the Excel, and you can actually build Power BI
A Power BI report directly on my lakehouse. Exactly. I can see my percentage staff numbers, my budgeting forecast, all right over here. Data is flowing in from my Excel, my SharePoint list, all in that single pane of glass like you all requested. But Amir, we all know that data is changing. And I just got a request that my staffing numbers in Chicago are ready to launch. So let's go back into my Excel and my SharePoint, update those numbers, and see how they show up in Power BI. First, let's start in Excel. I'm gonna go to my Chicago one, go from my 10 numbers, roles filled, to 26. That means it's 100% staffed. Now, my store manager in Chicago got this notice as well. So I'll go to my SharePoint list, go to my Chicago store, update the numbers to 100% staffed. That means my store is ready to go. This is what I mean, Amir. 2 different people, 2 different sources, all updating the same story from different perspectives.
And to see that in the report, we don't have to refresh, scheduling, anything, pipeline. It's just live connection.
It's a live connection. And if I go to my Power BI report, I'm gonna see that staffing number for Chicago at 100%. That means it's ready to go. So that updated data is flowing in from Excel, SharePoint, going into my lakehouse, and now my Power BI report.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So all of you are using Power BI and you're not feeling comfortable yet with all the Spark engines and the SQL databases, SharePoint list, Excel, you can get the same benefits. Pretty incredible.
It's pretty
incredible. Thank you so much, Irene.
Thank you, Amir. Have a great event, everyone.
And we are continuing to extend our journey with mirroring, and we have a set of extended mirroring capability we're going to introduce in the coming months into the market. The first one is going to be the change data feed from the mirroring. It means that now you can build applications that are listening to the mirroring processes and figure out like what records are being inserted, deleted, updated inside the mirroring, and then you can build your own actions on top of that. So if you want to build a real-time system using real-time intelligence, using any of the other capabilities of Fabric, by listening to those events, you can do that with the extended mirroring. So that's the first feature. You're going to see way more coming in the next few months, but really excited to extend the whole notion of what it means to do mirroring in Fabric. Okay, so we have all the data in OneLake. And what's beautiful really about the data in OneLake, it's not just limited to Fabric. You know, Fabric can use it, but it can be used everywhere. The entire Microsoft stack is being wired to work with OneLake catalog and OneLake content. It means that you can find OneLake access from your Power BI desktop, or from your Excel, from your SharePoint, or your Teams, or your PowerPoint, everywhere. And it's not just our own products, but it's also the entire ecosystem of data connecting to OneLake. Because OneLake has open data formats, it has open APIs, everything can connect to OneLake. We love it because it means that the effort that you're making in order to make sure that all the data is in OneLake can be reused over and over and over again. And we really like the bi-directional relationship we had with some of the players in the market. For example, with Snowflake. Snowflake can both write into OneLake and Snowflake can read from OneLake, bi-directional. And we're really excited that after a long wait, but at last, we have this bi-directional relationship also with Databricks. So yes, I know many of you are using Databricks, and you want to make sure that not only that Fabric can read from Databricks, but you want to make sure that Databricks can read from OneLake as well. And that circle has been completed now. Really, really excited about it. And to learn more about what you can do with OneLake, there's a core note by Josh and Deepti, and really, really go. And there's so many other capabilities we're introducing there. Now, if the data cannot arrive to OneLake using the mirroring or the shortcuts, then we have also the data factory. And we absolutely love the data factory. We have 170 connectors that can connect to virtually any source in the universe. People absolutely love that. And what's really cool about the data factory is the scale that we are getting with the OneLake factory. So we're talking about 23 billion jobs that are running every month on the data factory. The volumes of data being moved is just incredible. 600 petabyte big data being moved every month. We have tons and tons and tons of announcements that you can find in the Faisal's core note. And you can see some of them here, like the Airflow identity, workspace identity support, or the interval-based scheduling. So the scheduler is so much more advanced. But the thing that we heard from almost all of you that have already built data factories in Azure data factories, is how do I join the party with my Azure data factories? And this is where we are incredibly excited to announce the public preview of the Data Factory Migration Assistant. Yes, and it really means that you will be able to take everything you have in Azure Data Factory across the board and move it to Fabric. And it includes a bunch of things that are really new, like if you have SSIS transforms, yeah, they will be available in Fabric as well. If you have mapping data flows in Azure, they will be available in Fabric as well. So it's all AI-driven, no code, very, very easy migration. Really excited about that. Okay, so we talked about how we bring all the data to one place into OneLake, and we're ready to move to the next step in our framework. And the data is here, it's in OneLake. But we have to make sure that data can really work together. And you bring data from multiple sources, you need to harmonize it, you make sure that it's all matching, the keys are matching, the inconsistencies are resolved, you have to enrich, you have to consolidate. And this is where the analytics comes in. We have an amazing set of engines in analytics. We have the Spark engines, we have the data warehouse engine, 22,000 customers already using those analytics engines, and the growth is incredible. Again, almost 4 times the consumption that we saw a year ago. And we're continuously improving those engines. For example, the data warehouse already, just in the last 6 months, has seen 60% performance improvement. And we're not done yet. We're still on the journey, but boy, it is getting really fast. And one of the partners that really love our Spark engine is Augur. I don't know if you know Augur, but Augur is actually a leading vendor that in supply chain. And now they're building their new SaaS offering directly on top of Fabric. They love the scalability and the cost performance of their Spark engine. So when it comes to Spark, you guys love the materialized lake views, and these are at last generally available. They allow you to actually, yeah, thank you. They allow you to really go and manage complex transformations using views. It manages the DAG, and manage all the dependencies. You can actually apply them across lake houses. Really, really cool. And new thing that we have now in public preview is the multimodal AI function. So AI functions allow you to use the AI capability of the LLM to process data. And it used to be that it typically worked on top of textual data. But now we allow you to bring PDFs. We allow you to bring images. So you can have some really advanced AI functions working on these types of data. Again, all within the notebook, all within Python, all with, applying the AI capabilities of Fabric on top of that. And when it comes to the data warehouse, one of our best partners is Epic. I don't know if you know about Epic. Epic is actually a SaaS vendor that is owning the operations of 70% of the healthcare facilities in the United States. Hospitals, 70% of the hospitals in the United States are running the Epic systems. And they are building their next generation platform on top of the data warehouse. The data warehouse continues to evolve. We have now one of the most requested features, which is the custom SQL pools. And the custom SQL pools allow you to make sure that you allocate the right resources to the right tasks. You can isolate certain workloads within the warehouse. You can make sure that you don't get noisy neighbor disruption when one query can really disrupt others. So all of that is handled through the SQL pools. And the AI functions, they're also coming to the SQL language. So you can actually have the AI functions directly within the T-SQL of the data warehouse. And lastly, We have here the real-time alerts from the data warehouse integration with the activator. So when your views detect certain things, you can take instant action. That's kind of the power of integration that we have here. Now, the last thing I want to talk about is really how we are going to change how you build analytics in Fabric. And this is using the AI skills. Now, the AI skills are really all about making sure that you can use agents to help you build stuff in Fabric. So instead of you going and creating everything from scratch, opening a notebook, writing the first line of Python code, or opening a blank database and start defining the tables for the first time, we actually can have the agents, the AI agents, help you with that. And the AI skills are the reference manual for the agents to make sure the agents does things correctly in Fabric. It's what is the best practice, what is the most optimal way to build systems in Fabric. This is what AI skills give the agent. It's a set of markdown files that are available in GitHub, that are open source. You can actually fork, you can add, you can modify, and you can activate the agents. And it could be any development agent, could be Cloud Code, could be GitHub Copilot. We're going to see GitHub Copilot building the system for you. So to actually see how everything comes together, I'm going to ask Joanna to join me on stage. Hey, Joanna, come on in.
Hey, Amir.
So Joanna, we are going to talk about how you build Fabric implementations, Fabric project in a completely different way.
Absolutely. I'm super excited to announce here at FabCon today, Skills for Fabric. So Skills for Fabric are basically an open source plugin for the GitHub Copilot CLI. And it basically enables you to build out your entire Fabric data platform using Copilot. How awesome is that, Amir?
Yeah. So this is what you're seeing here. This is the GitHub view, right?
Yeah, this is the GitHub view. You have an authoring skills, you have consumption skills, and you have skills for all the workloads in Fabric. So you can build out skills for data engineering, my favorite workload, data warehouse. You can build out skills for real-time intelligence just through a prompt.
So really, the agent is now having all the knowledge that it needs in order to build complete applications from scratch. And you can actually tell the agent what is the project that you want to build, and it will build it for you.
Absolutely. You can tell it, hey, build me out a medallion architecture, and it will go do it for you. Okay, check this out. So I'm giving Copilot one simple mission. Build me out an ingestion engine, clean my ticket data, and prep me a silver layer. Look at it go, Amir. On the right-hand side, you have my Fabric workspace, and check this out. You can see new artifacts being populated live here. So you've got the environment artifact, you've got the lakehouse artifact that's being provisioned, and in a second, you'll see this notebook that's just been provisioned all through a prompt.
So the agent just does everything for you. It's not just provision, it's actually populating the content. It's write the Python code inside the notebook, right? It actually creates a lakehouse to write shortcuts for you.
Exactly. We've gone from prompt engineering to intent-based engineering.
And you can see here on the side, on the Copilot side, it just explains what it builds, why it builds it, what skills it uses, and so forth.
Yeah, and which best practices it applied as well. It's giving me a full summary of everything that it's done.
So can you show us how the lakehouse looks like?
I would love to. So hopping into the lakehouse here, you'll see this. It's just preparing my silver layer in the lakehouse. You can see all that data that the Copilot ingested for me from that prompt here in the lakehouse table. Now, I'm super excited as well to announce today in public preview Runtime 2.0, which is leveraging Spark and Delta 4.0. How exciting is that? And I know that's really exciting, guys, but my favorite feature, I have to say, is custom live pools. So, you know those pool startup times, Amir? Man, that can be a real drag.
Yeah, it could be sometimes 5 minutes to start a custom live pool.
Yeah, really, it's a bit of a downer, but check this out. Custom live pools pre-warm that pool for you. It can take your startup times down to 3 to 5 seconds, which is amazing. All you have to do is configure the startup time. You can basically say 3 a.m. every morning, I want the pool to be preloaded with all the custom libraries, all my network security settings, all those things that make pools take longer to load up. You can basically pre-warm them and they're ready to go.
No, really, you're going to show us it's 5 seconds.
I promise you it's 5 seconds. That compute pool I just provisioned, I'm going to attach it to this notebook that Copilot provisioned for me. That's going to clean my silver data. Check out the startup time. If you don't believe me, this is starting up in 5 seconds.
Yeah, that's from 5 minutes to 5 seconds. That's awesome. Now, we are back into the lakehouse, and all the data warehouse improvements also applicable to the SQL endpoint of the lakehouse.
Yeah, like I said, data warehouse, my favorite workload. Here, I'm basically using AI functions in the warehouse. These AI functions are basically categorizing my support ticket data that came through. It's summarizing the customer sentiment of the support ticket data all within the warehouse. It's basically LLMs in my data warehouse.
Yeah, it's part of the SQL now. That's awesome. Now, you can also have that integration with the activator we talked about, right?
Yes, I'm super excited to announce today alerts in the Fabric warehouse. So we have activator in the warehouse. So basically what I can do here is, I've got support ticket data coming in, and some of the product defects are associated with strange noises. I want my team to receive a summary anytime there's a strange noise that's reported by a customer. So I'm setting up an alert. I'm adding a rule to say, hey, every day I want Santosh on my team to be notified when an alert comes through about strange noises about my product. So I'm basically setting this up all in the activator, and I'm going to create this rule. And once that's done, Amir, I've gone from prompt engineering to operational intelligence in minutes.
Yeah. It's awesome. I just love how everything is integrated. The lake house with the warehouse with the activator with the AI functions. Like everything is working together. Really awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Amir.
Yeah. So we talked about Spark. We talked about data warehouse. They all live in, they're all processing table. Data lives in table. We all know that. But knowledge is way more complex. We like to say that knowledge lives in graph. And we have introduced the Graph in Fabric just 6 months ago at the public preview, and been churning through that. It takes us a couple more months to make it generally available, but you should try it out. Thousands of you already tried it out. It's really incredible. And it's the same team that built the LinkedIn graph. So they're building incredibly scalable, and they're constantly upping the scale limits of the graph. So now Graph can support over 1 billion nodes and edges in it. It's quite incredible. It's going to be the most scalable graph technology on the planet in the commercial product. Very excited. If you want to know more about what's happening in data engineering and in data warehousing, then join Bogdan and his team to learn more about those in the core notes. Now, we talked about how we process the data, but some of the data is really not just about the processing. It's about the timeliness of the data. This is where real-time intelligence comes in. And real-time intelligence has been a rocket ship. And just look at the volumes of data that we have processing every month. We're talking about 14.3 exabyte of data, of events and logs that we're processing in real-time intelligence every month. We're talking about this Microsoft stack there is handling over 600 trillion messages, real-time messages over time. And when you talk about real-time eventing, real-time messaging, really, the other way to say it, this is a mission-critical system. Mission-critical system, you cannot have delays. You cannot, every moment counts. And in fact, 50% of customers who are using Fabric are using the real-time intelligence capability. And the growth we're seeing is explosive. 4x more real-time load now than it was a year ago. So just incredible, incredible growth. And we're not done yet. So we are constantly improving the real-time stack. So for example, Spark Structured Streaming with Event Stream is now being introduced, and it's on public preview, which means that now you can have the real-time stream coming from the event stream being processed using Python in your Spark notebook. Just allow you to build end-to-end real-time intelligence systems. And the other thing I'm really excited about is the business events in the real-time hub. These business events allow you to actually find your own schemas for events. So it's not system events. These are events that say, oh, the plane is delayed, or the pilot is missing, or the temperature is too high. And you define the schema, and then you can build systems around it. So it allows you complete programmability around the real-time stack. And more and more and more innovations we have here, and Itzhak and his team are going to work you through that. So a lot of stuff. So okay, so we have here the data unified in the data state. We process it, we harmonize it with all the engines for real-time, Spark, data warehouse, everything we have there. And now we're ready to go with, and you rate the semantic content, okay? This is the time. We actually, because think about it, this is where Fabric IQ comes in. We have all the data there. We have tens of thousands of tables, sometimes 100,000 tables in OneLake. We have all the information around the columns. You have millions and millions of columns, and you need to make sure that all the data that we have in OneLake can actually be understood. Now, it's hard. Like, take a human, throw them in front of the OneLake with all these millions of columns and 100,000 of tables. They will struggle. The AI will struggle as well. This is where the semantics come in. And we have the semantic models of Power BI. It's kind of amazing to see the journey we have there. Semantic models, you guys are all using Power BI, I know that. And you have about 20 million semantic models, just over 20 million semantic models active right now. And they power every Power BI report. Every dashboard that you have is all built on top of semantic model. And what the semantic models really allow humans and AI is to understand the tables, the meaning of the table, understand the meaning of the column, define measures that tells us how we quantify our achievements and where we're heading with that. We've been using that. It's been a journey, and it's getting better and better and better. There are more and more innovations around the semantic model in Power BI, and you should join the Power BI team in their core node. But it's not enough. It's not enough, because as we go and we have the semantics there, they're great for reporting, they're great for analytics, but if you want to move it to the next level, to the world of operations, this is where we need to bring not business intelligence, but operational intelligence, and this is where the ontologies are coming into play. And to talk more and explain where semantic models ending and where the ontologies begin and what's the difference, I want to bring the man himself, Itzhak, to the stage. Itzhak is the owner of everything that has to do with IQ. Hey, Itzhak. So we are talking about those ontologies.
Yeah.
And people asking, so what's the difference? What are the ontologies versus semantic models?
So let's demystify ontologies. You heard Satya speak about ontologies. Everybody speaks about Fabric Q, but what's all about? We want to move to operations. Analytics is great, but we also want to run our business. So to do so, we need something that thinks and represents our business all up. We want to take all the analytical data together with the real-time data and to be able to act on it. Think about it like the brain of your business that can take actions.
So ontologies really models the business process, really how the business works. So both humans and AI understand what it means to run this business. So if I take, for example, a business like an airline, we had just had Delta on stage, right?
Easy peasy.
Yeah. So actually, it's hard to explain how an airline works. We kind of know the easy part, like we buy tickets when we board the plane and we get there. But there's so much going on behind the scene, and we really have to model all of that, right?
Yes, Amir. So our goal here is really to take all the data and connect it to the meaning. So we will be able to take all this together and really drive actions on all this data together.
So you have all the data flowing from every part of the organization, right?
Yeah, so we have the data, all the streaming data, the batch data, but we look at this data through the business entities, to the entities that represent the business.
So you go and pull the entities out.
Correct. So in this scenario of airlines, which is very easy to understand and run, we have planes, pilots, and those entities are rich entities. And we go beyond the semantics. It's beyond the properties and the measures. We have time series data, the velocity of the airplane. We have the geospatial data. Where is the airplane? But we have also actions.
So actions could be anything that you represent an action on the item, on the object here, on the entity here. So you can, for example, ground a plane or send it to maintenance or maybe assign a crew to a plane. These are all actions that you're modeling inside the ontology.
Correct. Those are rich entities, but those entities are also interconnected with each other by business meaning. It's not just a foreign key relationship. It's a meaning that represents a business understanding. And because of that, we can apply policies on all this data and apply rules.
So policies could be something like, certain pilots are certified to fly on certain planes, so make sure that you don't assign the wrong pilot to the wrong plane.
Yeah, and more than that, we will use those policies really to drive our business forward. We will use this to drive our objectives of the business.
So we really want to make sure that as the agent is thinking about the business, reasoning about the business, it understands our value system. An airline would have safety and customer satisfaction and profitability as goals. But how do we trade off? Would you actually sacrifice safety in order to gain another dollar in profitability? Probably not.
I hope not. And that's why we are using ontologies, because they represent the brain of the business. We need to look at this holistically across the whole business.
So you want to show us how we build an ontology, right?
Yeah, let's do it. So we run also airlines here at Zava Airlines. And let's start. We are in Atlanta. There's a storm coming in this afternoon. And let's start to make it happen.
So we have here the semantic model of Power BI,
yeah,
right?
All familiar, the semantic model of Power BI. We have our entities, airlines, flights, and more passengers. But we really need to go beyond semantics. We want to drive operations because we have a storm on ahead. And to do so, we will need to generate an ontology. And in easy can done, just click of a button. We'll take all the data from the semantic models, the columns, the tables, and create business entities. As you can see, Amir, those business entities are related to each other, not just by a foreign key, by a business relationship that represents the business.
But I don't have the weather information yet.
Yeah, so we can add more. We can add rules and actions on this data, but as you mentioned, we want to see how those entities are looking like. And you can see easily with the click of a button, now we have entity-centric view that represent. And for example, we can see flights from Atlanta to Denver. They're supposed to go this afternoon. But as we said, we have a storm on our head. So we need to add real-time data so we'll know what's happening on the ground to be able to act on it. So let's add real-time data as I was showing, the stuff that happens on the runways, the rain, the visual range, the conditions on the ground, and let's take it further.
So you just add the weather information here, and now it's enriching the ontology with that information.
Correct. And now we can see in real time what's happening on the ground. And from this, we can take it forward. What we want to do is not only just see the data in real time, we want to act on it. And
so you can actually create actions here in policies and rules.
Correct. And you see those relationships, but we want to add rules and actions. We can notify our passenger, as in the crew, in case their weather conditions will cause delay. And this is important to make sure that we are driving operations.
But sometimes we don't want to just notify. We want to actually activate specific code paths to solve the problem.
Yeah, correct. Notification for Teams and emails is great, but we want to do more than that. And we want to create custom functions really to drive the value. We want to make sure that we are proactive and taking action, not just notifying. So as you can see, we are in the custom functions, no credentials, no connection string. We take all the data from the ontology, the passenger data, the gates, the flights, the routes, and we create a rewrite plan. So by the time this function is run and they're notified, we are able to get also the answers, not just notifications for them.
That's incredible. So now you have a kind of a complete picture of everything you have in the business.
Yes, it's easy peasy. Even a CVP can do it.
Yeah. So
but
we
let's take it
all
forward. I want to add more data here because I want to add IoT data. I want to add maintenance data because my goal here is to have a full view of my business, as I said, a full brain of the business.
Okay, so we have the full business view of the business. All the real-time data from the sensors are being added as well, the IoT. And now we see the 360 view.
Yeah, 360 view. And not only that, you can dive into a specific flight and see all the data, all the knowledge graph and all the data. And look how pretty it is.
This is great. So it's great for humans, by the way. It's just a great way to look at everything happens in the business, entity by entity, the ability to drill down. It's great for an agent to see the exact same thing.
Indeed. And what we brought here, we brought the BI data, the geospatial data, the real-time data, all to one place where both humans and AI can work on it.
This is awesome. Now, one thing I noticed here is that you also have this live map that is showing up on this dashboard.
Yeah, we have fancy schmancy maps, and we are excited to announce a general ability of maps in Fabric.
Yeah.
Yeah, and more than that, we're adding features, and you can see also satellite imagery, so super exciting.
And you have another core node that you're going to show even more innovations.
The best.
Thank you, Isaac.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. So the ontology is really about getting this complete view of everything that is happening in the business. It really can connect to everything that we have. So it knows everything that happened, all the historical data. It's available in OneLake. You saw how Itzhak added the real-time feed, so it not just knows what happened, but also knows what's happening right now at this moment using the real-time intelligence events. But the question is, what about, not just the past, not just the present, what about the future? How would the ontology know what should happen? And this is where we are incredibly excited to announce Planning in Fabric. And Planning in Fabric is a new workload that is going to join the ontology and the Fabric IQ, and it really is going to allow you to do full enterprise planning within Fabric. And I want to have Aaron join me on stage to talk more about this, this new plan in Fabric.
Hey guys, how are you?
So, Planning in Fabric. This is actually a complete enterprise planning capability that we're adding to Fabric.
Yeah, it's fully end-to-end, integrated with OneLake, integrated with pricing, so you don't have to buy a seat, worry about anything. And I like to think about it in terms of the late, great television show Lost. I'm sure we have some fans, right? So with OneLake, we flash back. With planning, you flash forward, you flash sideways. What could happen? What might happen? We'll show you.
So it's really easy to integrate. Like, it's built into Fabric. It's in part of the UI, part of the security model, part of all the data is going to be in OneLake. All the data is integrated with the SQL database, and you don't have to buy anything, right? It's just covered by your capacity.
Exactly. It's integrated
and
right
just
in.
know, if you're talking about enterprise planning software, it is expensive. Like, generally, some of the packages in the market will be $4,000 per seat per person per year.
Yeah, you need planning software to manage it. So.
Yeah, and so we're going to show how the whole thing integrates. And the beautiful thing here, it actually starts with Power BI, isn't it?
Exactly. So let's take a look, right? So I'm going to take us back to the world of beverages. Let's say I'm a sales lead, and I need to think about those drinks and brands that are going to go into the freestyle machines that you're going to enjoy soon. I'm creating a revenue plan just in a few clicks, right? It's like any other Fabric item in that new item pane. Give it a name, give it a description, and we'll go from there. And here's where the OneLake integration comes in. I'm bringing in my actuals, my prior data from a semantic model. And so that has brand categories going down here, and it has time going across the right for all my quarters. We start there, right, in the past, and our plan is informed by that. So I'm going to wipe away or hide the 2025 numbers and look to 2026. And I can start applying growth percentages here, right, to specific brands, to specific categories of brands, and you'll see that they propagate down, they propagate across, and they also roll back up to the high-level planning number. I don't have to do anything.
I love how easy it is to make the changes. Use a plus 7%, it just changes all the numbers, allocate them accordingly. It's beautiful.
Exactly. So I can play around, do all my experimentation, and then when I'm satisfied, I can lock that up and say, hey, I've set some growth targets. Let's put this in for my cosmic craft brews. And then close these out for now, right? And keep those stable while we continue to change other numbers in our revenue plan. And so once I do that, you'll notice that the changes that I apply don't touch what I've already locked, right? Only the open categories are affected. I can tag in my teammates to take a look and go from there.
So it's a complete collaborative environment where people collaborate on building the plan together.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And more on that soon, because we have lots of features to control who's doing what. Right, but for now, we have the ability to start creating scenarios. I have a pretty tough boss. I don't know about you, but he always likes that I go in with a few options and say, here's what happens best case, here's what happens worst case. So we have that scenario planning with those sliders you see. They give us variance with respect to the base scenario. And I can also pop into this tree view for an even more kind of intensive driver-based UX.
This is just incredible. This beautiful view shows you how every number drives another number in the plan.
Exactly. It goes top to bottom, bottom to top. And when we switch back into this view, it's totally synced, and I can start controlling, right, extra custom columns or security rules. I can say who can do what. Very easy to configure all of this. Super mature product, and it's just built into Fabric.
It's kind of misleading. It's the first time we're introducing it, but it's incredibly mature. It has all the bells and whistles.
Yes, and we have an audit feature too, right? So after we've set up those rules, we can go and see who's touched what, right? Who's had their hands in the proverbial cookie jar and make sure no one's doing anything funny there with our financial plans.
This is incredible. So now we have all the plan, and we can now store it somewhere.
Yes, so full integration, right? We started with OneLake in the semantic model for our actuals or our priors. We can now take the plan and write it to one of those databases in the database hub that Charles showed you. And now when we switch into this view, we see it's written there right back for us on the other side.
And it's also in OneLake, and you can use it in Ontology.
Exactly. So all of this is useful in its own right. Everyone needs to plan, right? Everyone has financials. But the real beauty of this for agentic solutions is now you have access in your ontology to a sense of what should happen, right? Intent. It's not just descriptive. You know where you're supposed to go, what numbers you're supposed to hit, and your agents can reason with that knowledge. So they have a sense really of where we're all headed.
That's awesome. And it's what I love about what we're doing here is this is going to do in the planning space what Power BI did in the business intelligence space. It is just going to completely disrupt, revolutionize. It's just part of Fabric, nothing to buy, fully integrated with Power BI, fully integrated with everything else we have in Fabric. That's awesome. So thank you so much, Aaron. And don't go too far because I'll need you in a moment. Actually, stay around. Stay here. Let's just do that. It's kind of beautiful. Like we have this planning software. We also really have the most complete semantic model and semantic tier in the system because now we have both past what happened, present what's happening right now, and future what should happen. So all the tenses, it's the only semantic tier in the industry that does it. Now we have all the semantics time to go for the last phase. And this is where we empower the AI agents. And there are two types of AI agents built into Fabric. The first one is the data agents, right? Data agents, what are data agents, Aaron?
So data agents are like your virtual analysts. You're all familiar with them. We're thrilled to announce that now they're generally available, and we continue adding features. Yeah, we can get a round of applause. You can clap. Yeah, you can cheer. So Amir, we have that general availability for all your enterprise-grade scenarios, and we're continuing to add features like support for graph, enterprise features like OAP, and new Purview integration for governing and auditing.
Yeah, so new feature. Cool. So you actually show us the latest data agents and how they actually work with Ontology, right?
Yes. So I'm sure you've all seen demos of data agents in the past. I'm going to show you the latest and greatest. In this case, we're building a retail expert, right? And we're connecting that data agent to our ontology. So you've seen the event house, you've seen the semantic model, you've seen the lake house. Now we have these business entities. They include the plan we just built. And this allows us to talk to our data agent in the terms of our real business, right? The same way we talk to our people. I'm going to give it some instructions. It's going to help me analyze regions, sales patterns, supply operations, all of that. And then I'm going to start asking a test question. And when I do that, I can refer to the same entities that I've defined. I don't need to get as specific about data keys because the ontology helps the agent understand my business.
And what happens is if the answer is not exactly what you expect?
Well, the agent's not going to get everything right. I mean, we don't get everything right. And so you have the ability to kind of customize it. I'm going to go back and give it some instructions to format answers in a different way. And when I do that, I have the ability to see that it responds to what I want, right? It knows kind of how I expect my answers to come through.
Okay, so now you have it, and you can see the responses. And what do you do next?
So here we'll see that I have the ability to say, structure it in this way, right? I don't want it to come back with a lot of, verbiage without telling me what the point is. I like my memos formatted in a specific way. So give me the high-level news and then go through the graph traversal. And we'll see as we continue to ask questions that it responds to that and, takes
And really understand your business because of the ontology.
Yes. And crucially through here, it's pulling these data entities from the terms that I've defined.
So now you publish it?
Yes, so I can keep playing around, but let's publish that data agent and expose it to, the business apps where the rest of our teams work. Here we're in the M365 chat interface, maybe we're in Teams, and we can start asking questions. So, regions that have lots of customers but fewer stores. Again, a simple query in this case, but we see that the agent does its reading, it's diligent. You see some code there for matplotlib.
Yeah, I love it. Data agent actually generates code on the fly to give you
Yeah, exactly. I don't want to play with all those libraries necessarily when I'm formatting the visualizations. The agent will now do that for me. It'll produce the visualization for you and give you a really detailed answer, right, for deep reasoning over your enterprise data.
And that's, you just look at the extent of the answer here. It has 5 parts answer, very deep. It understands the context, understand how things are related to each other because of the ontology. So the answer is incredibly complete.
Exactly. Did its homework.
Okay, that's great. And now you can go, Aaron. Thank you so much.
Thank you, folks. Have a great conference. Take care.
Okay. So these were the data agents. And now we also have the other kind of agent. These are the operation agents, and they are different. And to explain the difference, I'm going to have my friend Tessa join me on stage. Hey, Tessa.
How's it going?
Great. Okay, so what's the difference? So data agents are virtual data analysts. How do you think, what is operations agent? This is a public preview showing you first time. What are the operation agents?
Yeah, operations agents are a little bit different, as you said, because they're really tailored to help with your operations. So you can think of them as virtual team members that are running 24/7, helping you monitor and act on your data.
So if data agents are kind of chatbots that are waiting for you to ask a question, but then if you don't ask any questions, they're just asleep, the operations agents are always awake. They're not waiting for questions. They're monitoring data and will act if they see something going wrong, figure out what's going wrong, and then correct the situation.
Yeah, exactly. Running 24/7 right alongside your team. And based off of the information, the goals that you provide, it helps look for certain patterns. And like I said, help you act on them and resolve them quickly to help your business.
And the operational agents are also connected to the ontology, right?
Of course, yeah. So it needs all of that same information.
So actually, let's take a look. You have a demo for us?
In action. Okay, so we're going to start by creating an item, of course, and we're going to create an operations agent item. And in this case, it's going to be a customer churn agent. So it's going to monitor all of my different marketing, website activities, and help me identify customers that are at risk at churn and act proactively. And so I'm going to start by providing some information, some goals about what I actually want this agent to accomplish. Think about onboarding a new team member. You want to say what's
This is
going
kind of the job description. This is what you're supposed to be doing.
Exactly. So you're going to see here, I'm going to focus on what it's going to monitor and how it's going to help reduce the risk of churn. And like any agent, I'm also going to provide some instructions, and this is where I'm getting a little bit more specific about the specific churn scores I want to watch and what action I want to take. So in this case, it's going to monitor and actually recommend promo codes when customers are at risk of churning.
And now you have to really make sure the agent understands the business. So you're connecting it to the ontology now.
Exactly. You connect the knowledge directly to the ontology. It gets that consistent business and semantic information. And you can also add custom actions directly in the agent. And in this case, I'm going to, provide the information about what promo code, the description, the information, the parameters to provide, and all this, the name, the description, is used by the agent to help recommend the best action when it detects that specific condition.
And you can have more than one action.
Exactly, and these actions can actually connect to Power Automate and trigger workflows and external systems as well.
So how do you know that the agent really understands what you ask you to do?
Yeah, once you've specified this information, you're actually going to generate the playbook. And what the playbook does is it actually tells what the agent is going to do. It's going to tell you its understanding of all that information we provided. So you can see that it's identified certain entities, the properties. You can see that there's rules, what conditions it's looking for, what actions it's going to recommend, and really make sure that I have confidence in what the agent's going to do.
Now, can I actually see what the agent is doing?
Yeah, so just like this, you can actually hit run and publish it, and it's actually going to run alongside our team directly in our team's channel, and you're going to see it running in real time. So here it is, monitoring everything 24/7, and you can see it's actually going to detect a specific condition, and I can get the information, I can open up, see the data that's within it, and you can see here that it's actually detecting a specific add to cart action and recommending a promo code. That's probably not right. If someone's adding something to the cart, they're probably not at risk of churning. So I'm going to go back and tell the agent and refine it a little bit to ignore those specific activities and focus more on the other at-risk activities.
So you're constantly refining, and now you can check that it's actually working correctly.
Exactly. Right away, it's taken that information. You can see here the action is an abandoned cart action. That's a little bit more accurate to submit a promo code. It's going to tell me the different parameters. I'm going to approve it. And just like that, it's going to take the action and automatically send the promo code to the customer on our behalf.
This is so awesome. So you can see how we build a complete virtual team member that constantly never goes to sleep, constantly watches what's going on, and correct situation which needs correction. In this case, the potential abandonment of the current customer.
Exactly. Really powerful having the agent work directly alongside the team.
And you can see here the agent actually sent promotions. We love getting spam, right?
Everyone loves a promo code.
So, thank you so much, Tessa.
Thank you for me.
Okay, so we actually gone through the entire framework. We've seen how we brought all the data into the OneLake. We saw how we harmonize and process the data in OneLake. We created the semantic tier with the semantic model of Power BI and the ontology, and then we pulled the agent on top. And what's beautiful about it, that everything we did in Fabric IQ is really conducive, not just to inform people, not just to inform an agent, but actually every agent that you build will have the same foundation of knowledge, of context, of understanding of your business. So it's great because now you don't have to do the work agent by agent, and all the agents actually pushing in the same direction as you like. And that actually takes us through the entire journey with Fabric, and you're going to have an amazing conference here with over 200 sessions, so many breakouts. You learn so much. And hey, Shirish, you have an announcement?
I'm back here, Amir. I have something to share. As every one of you know, all the good people here know that FabCon is going to be in Europe. This time it's going to be in Barcelona. I'm excited to say that SQLCon is going to join FabCon again in Barcelona. So I hope to see you all there pretty soon.
And it's not just Barcelona, because this place, this time, next year, again, we're going to fill the arena again, and we're going to have another FabCon with SQL token together. So thank you so much from both of us.
Thank you all.
Thank you. Enjoy the conference.